So what is up, guys? You got your boy Stingren here today, and today we're back with some reverse 1999 content. And today I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on the brand new 1.1 unit that will be coming into the game relatively soon. So I'm going to be talking about Melania and what she wants to do, and kind of giving you guys recommendations for builds, like for her recommended cubes. I'm calling them cubes because I don't want to call them anything else because my pronunciation of the word is pretty bad. Please forgive me. I'm going to give you guys some recommended teammates, and I'm going to give you some comparisons to other potential units that fit her role, which is namely going to be the other 6-star beast unit, which I'm sure you know who she is, but we'll talk about who that is if you don't know. So first things first, let's talk about Melania. Melania is a 6-star beast mental damage dealer, the opposite of the other 6-star beast who is reality. So that means if you're looking for just optimal content clearing, you want to go for a 6-star beast carry, Melania is right here for you. But is she any good? Well, watch the rest of this video and let's find out. So Melania is a character that is pretty interesting to play with, but let's go and talk about her skills where we talk about the key concept of what she wants to do. So let's talk about her ultimate. Her ultimate is a one target based attack, does 650% mental damage, and it grants a layer of Skillful Thief. And Skillful Thief is a buff that she can grant herself that will enhance both her skill 1, skill 2, her one card and her other card respectfully. Now let's talk about what this does for her card. So this is her first skill, which is Exploitation. It is a 400%, well, max of 400% mental damage, reduces its target moxie by 1, gains +1 moxie, and if she's in Skillful Thief, which is again gained from her ultimate, she will steal yet another +1 moxie from the target, which is pretty good, honestly. And let's talk about her other skill, which is Clockwork Rat Infestation, which has a maximum of 300% mental damage to 2 enemies, which is in mass attack. Its attack will also have 20% leech rate, and if she's in Skillful Thief, she will gain +1 moxie while also getting an additional 30% leech rate, making it a 50% leech rate attack total. Now let's go ahead and talk about the really good things that we talk about her key concept. One, Melania is actually pretty self-sufficient. She has the ability to heal herself, she has AoE, and she has the ability to disrupt. So that's a really good thing here. Melania is also what you consider as an AP hungry unit, where she wants to take a lot of actions. The reason why you want to do this is because you want to get to that ultimate as fast as you can, because you want to be able to use Skillful Thief to get that ultimate within every other turn. So this means if you have to use Exploitation a lot more consistently than you would like, then that is going to be something that is going to be your playstyle for Melania. The key way that you want to play Melania is you want to be able to build up your ultimate ASAP, pop ultimate, make sure it's one of the first or second actions that you have available, because the whole key concept of wanting to do the ultimate is to be able to enhance the other attack. So you can pop ultimate, pop the card 1, which is going to give you the additional moxie while also stealing moxie, while also giving you effectively a +2. This gives you a +2 right here, so that's really cool. It gives you a +2 because it steals 1 moxie from the target. So it's a -2 for the opponent and a +2 for you if you get the level 3 version of this card. Now of course there are not really too many ways you can really manipulate a level 3, but it's really just on luck. But if you can even get a level 2, that's still pretty good. You still steal 1 and you also steal 1, so it's still effectively a -2 on the opponent while also giving you a +1. So I mean, it's -2 +1, not bad. I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. That's really good, especially when you want to disrupt enemies. You want to stop ultimate attacks from firing off after the enemy has gained 5 stacks. It's also a really good countermeasure to certain fights where certain enemies can start at full moxie, but you can just use this and then you just go bop, stop the attack, and then it's all good to go. And remember, since this is a single target, you can't just hit one then hit the other just to do the same effect, to mirror the whole thing. So again, that's there. And since it's a tier 1 steal, you don't have to worry about building it up to get a full optimal level of its effect. And since she's stealing the moxie, this is going to help her gain moxie a little bit more, which is actually pretty good. Now using her skill 2, it really just depends on what situation of the fight's going on. I do recommend you run teams with a healer 9 times out of 10 just for the optimal safety of it all, but this does allow her to actually be pretty self-sufficient since she does have a 50% leech rate on the attack and she's built up decently well to hit enemies fairly hard. She can heal quite a bit, which is gonna be pretty good. This is about the same as Eternity with her ultimate, so that's pretty good. That's a pretty good leech rate from the attack. So that's, you know, that's definitely something that I definitely want to actually give full credit for. Again, I do think the first card is definitely more impactful in terms of what you want to do, because this does help her get into Skillful Thief more times than you want, because that's basically the playstyle of Melania. Melania's entire playstyle is build up Moxie as quick as you can, also disrupting the enemy, and then you go boom, pop ultimate. Now this does kind of lock her into a single target playstyle, which is, if you're using her as the main carry, kind of a problem, because you couldn't worry about ads. You know, certain ads can definitely make fights a little bit more unbearable. So there could be times where you don't have the opportunity to play that S1 the way you want to, because you want to be able to chip away at the ads, also dealing damage to a boss, or also dealing damage to just ads at once. So again, it's completely up to what's going on in the fight, and it's also up to you as the player. But I do think Melania's best playstyle is really just for the single target game. Once you get that you and the enemy, it's you and the team, then you can really get some good stuff going on with Melania, because you can really loop that ultimate quickly. Now I do think while there's normal add-ons on the field, I do think you want to play the more passive route by giving her the consistency, because she's able to hit more targets, and you just go from there. Anyway, so I was going to talk about her inheritance. Her inheritance is at Insight level 1, she gets the ability to gain a new buff. This new buff is called Established Plan, which is established right here, where she gets a ultimate might increase of 12%, can be stacked up to 6 times, and cannot be dispelled. So this means that this makes her ultimate hit harder for each time you use her ultimate. This does again favor the skill 1 plan a little bit more than the skill 2 plan, because again, you're building up ultimate faster that way. But that is a pretty nice effect there, because every time she casts her ult, it's gonna hit harder and harder and harder, especially when you have proper teammates on your side, people who can buff you or can debuff the enemy for their mental defense or etc. That's gonna be a really good way for her to really build up some good damage on the enemy. So again, I do think it's a really good thing there. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about her Insight level 2. Her Insight level 2 gives her a damage boost of 8%. Again, nothing really too crazy there. It's just extra damage, which as a DPS is always well warranted. So, really good. Next up is going to be her Insight level 3, which is whenever she casts her ultimate, she gets an additional stack of Established Plan, which basically means she only has to ult 3 times before she gets the maximum effectiveness of her ult. Now, if you want to know about the way of building her in terms of like good insights, you'll be pleased to know that she does start off being very good just at Insight level 1, because she's already getting the ultimate boost from just Insight level 1. So you don't have to worry about taking her to I3 before she starts shining for like someone like Lilia, but it's definitely really good if she's able just to go at I1 and she's able to start beating in that content just immediately, because she already has basically everything she needs. Yes, the damage boost of 8% is always great at I2, but if you're a player who's a bit newer and you're not building to the I2 mark yet, then that is going to be good just at I1, where she can at least start building up damage on the ultimate, which I do think is a fantastic plus for Melania. Now I'm going to talk about a recommended section for her cubes and what you should put on her. Now, the best cube I can honestly feel is the 6-star slot, which you can get from your day 5 login. If you're a newer player, then day 5 login gets you a free selector of a 6-star cube, and Brave New World should be the cube you put on her because of the following effect. Brave New World basically increases the incantation might of the next skill by 20%. As I just said before, the way you really want to play Melania is you ult first, then you proceed to use whatever skill you want depending on the tide of the battle. This gives your skill an effective 20% incantation boost, which means it's going to hit harder, which is actually pretty great. Not to mention that this card also comes with a really good bonus of ultimate might, which again is going to boost the power of her ultimate attack, which is already stacking on top of her I1 passive. So that's already a really good way to build up this character in terms of just nuking capability. So she has really good ways to really build herself up there, and that's really good. I do think that's really good. So that's that. Next up is Tomorrow. Also, this is the 5-star version of the card, but I do think this is really good because it gives her critical rate. This is traditionally better for more star characters, but the reason why I recommend it is because this is pretty much one of the better options for 5-star cards. There's not too many great 5-star cards, I feel. There's some that's decent, but there's some that are just like kind of eh. This is kind of a better option because it does give her access to critical rate, and it also gives her a bonus of critical damage, which of course can help her hit a little harder if she does trigger a crit. So there's that. This also can work with certain other partners that may be different choices in the upcoming set of the game, which can help out Melania. So it could be potentially a nice option for a 5-star queue. Let's go and talk about some recommended party members. Now I kind of went into the general concept of what you should run. It's pretty much just an up to you thing, and I kind of picked just some standard choices here because I didn't want to keep people being here for too long. I don't want to make a 30-minute video talking about one character, but I wanted to talk about this as just general characters that would work for Melania in terms of teams. So anyway, first up I'm going to recommend is Balloon Party. Balloon Party is quite frankly the best 5-star healer you can ever ask for. She's pretty easy to set up. She's not as AP hungry as other people. She has a built-in counter off her level 2 heal while also healing. She has a heal on ult. So it's a pretty good, she's a pretty good healer. She's a pretty good healer, all things considered. She also does share type neutral with her main content that you want to take Melania in, which is again plant-based content. Since Melania is a beast character, she has the stronger affinity over plant-based enemies, and Balloon Party does not have a weakness to plant-based enemies, meaning that she can be used completely fine. She's also fairly tanky once you build into her fairly well, and that should be that. So pretty good option there. So Sonato, the same thing as I said about Balloon Party, having a type neutrality to plant-based content, but Sonato has a really interesting thing here, and that is going to be able to disarm. Disarm is really good for being able to set up rotations really well with your Melania. If you go the S1 route, you can actually disarm enemies, which can give you other opportunities to steal Moxie later. You can't just go a 1-and-1 and then steal the Moxie, sure, but if you're not able to do that, you can potentially disarm one enemy and then proceed to just steal the Moxie from someone else, giving you a little bit of ways to control damage. So that's a really, really good way of being able to do the content controlling when it comes to playing Sonato and Melania in the same team. So that's really good. Sonato also has the ability to buff for a pretty good amount. She can buff for 25% of damage dealt and damage reduction for your team for up to 3 turns, depending on whatever rarity you get of this card, which is good. That's very, very good. That's very good. So that is going to be something that you can run from her, and that's going to be that. Next up is going to be Baby Blue. Baby Blue is very much on here because of the same reason as Sonato, but slightly a little bit more tailored towards mental teams. I would say Sonato is definitely the more choice for more standard because she is a little bit more open, a little bit more flexible, but Baby Blue is on here because she is really good against the mental effective enemies. Since Melania is our mental DPS, she can be used for Baby Blue, but keep in mind she does share a plant-based weakness, so if you do not want to have to worry about these weaknesses in certain content, if you're just unsure, then of course you can opt to not use Baby Blue and use someone else on the recommended list. But anyway, let's go and talk about why I want her. So let's talk about her skill 1. Her Tea Party skill has the ability to debuff mental defense for 35% for 3 rounds. That's big. That is very massive. As you are stacking up damage with Melania, she's gonna hit very hard because of mental defense. She also has a damage minus 25% and damage taken 29% to all enemies for 3 rounds. So this is 3 really damage increasing debuffs on the enemy. The problem with this, okay, is that she does have to take 2 different cards to get those debuffs off, right? It's not just she gets the mental damage, she gets the debuff, and she gets the damage taken debuff all in one card. If it was all in one card, I would say Baby Blue's fantastic, but of course you have to kind of maneuver around both her skills. Thankfully, she does have good uptime with 3 turns each if you get the level 3 versions of her card. And even just level 1 and level 2, 2 rounds is still in bad because you can use it as the opportunity to set up an ultimate play where you can debuff first with one of the cards. For example, you can go to mental minus 25% ult with Melania and then follow up with another action with Melania after, which you can still get the benefit of the effect. You can still get that benefit. So it's not necessarily that you have to run a level 3 version of the card. Again, it's a helpful way because it's just that extra 10% of layer of damage, but that's just generally it. Next is going to be DK. DK is really good because, well, it's another character that is also mental, and this also acts as a sub DPS slash healer. Now, Balloon Party is just the better healer option 100% of the time, but since this is going to be more so recommending to use Melania for her most preferred content, which is again beast related content, because she is going to be the carry for those type of plant based enemies, DK can come in here and actually help. He can help because he has decent DPS. I mean, she has decent DPS on her overall kit, and she has access to a heal. So it's a pretty interesting way you can actually build a kind of double DPS while also having some a little bit utility there with DK being able to heal you for your team. She's pretty okay at healing. She's not the best, but she's okay. She's definitely okay. Next up for 6-star units, I'm gonna recommend Ana Lee. Ana Lee is basically a AP hungry support's best friend. And the reason why I recommend her over most other supports in the game right now is because of how Ana Lee passive works. If you guys don't know, Ana Lee's passive basically at Inside 1 allows her to be able to buff a card. Whenever she has the exorcism mode, it will switch over from every other turn from exorcism to break mode. And when she leaves out of break mode to go into exorcism mode, she will buff the furthest right card in the overall stack of cards that appear at the bottom of your gameplay screen. This is able to really set up some plays where you can get some really good buffs with her skill 2, which is able to give 20% damage or 30% if you're able to just kind of tie it into a level 2, and then you wait the next turn while she's in exorcism, which is pretty cool. She also has the ability to cause daze at a level 3, which is really good. She also has a pretty consistently good ult as well, because she can also use this ult to buff up cards as well, which she can really use to power up a level 3 even quicker. So she's really good for being able to be an AP hungry unit like Melania's best friend, because she doesn't allow the excess use of those skills. You can basically really just coast on skills with Ana Lee while also performing her job very well. That's going to talk about the other unit. It's going to be Medicine Pocket. Obviously, the very same reason for running DK is the same reason running Medicine Pocket, just minus the DPS option, because Medicine Pocket doesn't deal as much damage. But Medicine Pocket does have the ability to cause daze, which is pretty good. She also has the ability to give sturdiness, which is damage reduction for you. So basically, whenever the caster is dead, you take 20% less damage, which is going to just make you overall more bulkier. She also has the ability to increase damage taken, which is again really good. So if you have Medicine Pocket, that's a really good healer for beast related teams, or even just, she's a really good healer in general anyway. So she's able to boost up your damage, she's able to help you reduce damage just in different cards, but pretty good. So there's that. Now let's go and talk about comparing her to the other 6-star unit, who is known as Centurion. Centurion is the other 6-star beast unit that is reality instead of mental. So of course, if the boss is more weak to mental, then of course Melania does have a leg up in Centurion's case because she's reality based. But most of the time, if you're hitting for affiliates, I don't think that matters way too much unless there's specific content that changes that. Not that I've been informed of, but if you guys hear anything, let me know in the comment section below. But in terms of overall unit and comparatively to Centurion to Melania, I unfortunately will have to say that Centurion's a lot better. Now, the thing about Melania is she is more so just a for her unit. She wants others to make her look good. Centurion, on the other hand, can make others look good while also making herself look good. Any extra source of damage can always help the team, especially running like a 1-1-1 team where you run 1 DPS, 1 support, 1 healer or something. Even them getting off the extra damage is always well appreciated because it helps in progressing, especially when you're under a limited amount of turns to beat the content. The one thing that Centurion does help is, well, she is a really good way of building up her own Moxie with this card right here, which can grant 2 Moxie to herself while also using the card, which effectively is a +3, which is insane. She also has the ability to build up additional damage fairly consistently because of her skill 1, because of her having more Moxie. So the more Moxie she does have, the stronger this skill gets to be, and then she has a overall stronger ult, which gives a stack of weakness, which can allow her to hit really hard just on the follow-ups, just as similarly as just as similarly as Melania. Melania's difference with her ultimate basically gives you more follow-up control, but the difference with Centurion is it gives you more damage. That's essentially it. If we're looking for DPSing, then Centurion 100% wins 90% of the time. I think the only time it really matters is where you have to run mental. But again, I don't think any content that I've heard of where you have to run mental content. I've never heard anything say you have to be a mental DPS to use this character or etc. So if you already have Centurion, then I do think you can skip Melania rather consistently, or if you're just waiting for a different character, Melania is definitely a skippable character. But if you want someone who is a pretty decent DPS overall, I do think Melania is not a bad pickup. She's not a bad pickup, especially in content where you can definitely control the Moxie gain on enemies, where you can use her to really lower that Moxie and then proceed to kind of control and mitigate a lot of damage you can do using your supporters and everything like that. So that's gonna be it. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Let me know if you're going to pull from Melania in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys next time with more Verse 1999 content. I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.